The art, science and fun of making cocktails is in store for us today. Hi, I'm Grannie SolVRa and today I'm changing careers and I'm becoming a bartender. I am reviewing both Bartender VR Simulator and for added fun also Startenders Intergalactic Bartending. So sit on down, grab a drink and tune in as we explore the concepts, the graphics and the gameplay of these two games on my PS5 VR2 and learn a little bit about the exciting world of bartending and mastering the art of dazzling mixology in VR. One thing I found that both of these games did for me was a return to my youth, a general feeling of memories of the days when I was younger and also went out to clubs and bars. Plus, I enjoyed making drinks that during my life I had consumed, plus discovering a few others. That value of reminiscing should not be discounted, as it brings a flood of emotions and life experience. And you know what? That's soul warming. There are some accessibility settings. However, in truth, my arthritic hands did have some issues with the controls needed in Startenders. So I relatively frequently didn't grab the items correctly and I dropped quite a few of them, which in turn meant I had to repeat actions and get a little bit frustrated. It may have just been me. However, I'm posting it here that if you also suffer arthritis in your hands, this is something to be aware of. In both games, interestingly enough, your arms get an unexpected workout. That's due to reaching out, grabbing items at various levels on the different bars. It made me think that real bartenders must also get this added benefit. However, they also get walking around, which in these games you don't, because you can actually play seated or standing, and mainly it's just your eyes and your hands that swivel and not your body. At first, you're given instructions, both visually and audio, on how to make the drinks. But as each game increases, you do need to rely on your own memory for making drinks in the more advanced stages. So if your memory recall is not up to scratch, here's some tips. Play with a friend who calls out to you how to make those drinks, which you can gather from your prior gameplay, or in actual fact, there are cheat sheets that are available online anyway. I pre-warn you that some drinks are complex with multiple parts, and you have to get both the order and the quantity of the added ingredients right. So that may present a challenge. But hey, challenges are great for stimulating your mind. Startenders has a mini plot where you take on the role of an office worker who's been abducted and forced to work at the Startenders Bartending Academy. You're transported to a space station and you meet your robotic companion, Riley, who, by the way, looks very similar to the robots in Vacation Simulator, which is another game that I've reviewed earlier this year.
Excellent. Well, as I said, welcome to the Startenders Academy.
Anyway, Riley steps you through your onboarding, including a brief tutorial in your device controls and how to tend the bar. This involves you serving weird concoctions to aliens from galaxies far, far away. A key focus of this intergalactic game is moving around and using a vast array of weird machines. You pour your drinks and you decorate them with peculiar items, as well as you get access to your quarters and other parts of the space station. There's actually not much storyline in Bartender VR Simulator. Basically, you step behind the bar, you make drinks for your customers. However, there are 4 different bars that you tend, well, actually there's 5, but more on that later. And that adds some storyline to the game. You begin your journey in a nightclub and you learn how to make 4 basic drinks. You prove yourself and you win the opportunity to train and work in the next location, which is the beach, then the next ski resort, And then that leads you to a rooftop bar, and there is a special hidden fifth bar, a rooftop VIP bar for you. The depth of perception of the locations in Bartender VR is better than in Startenders. However, due to the galactic space feel of Startender, I had a wow moment when I first arrived and I just looked out at the space station. In my own life, I'd love to experience that. And in this game, I at least had part of that feeling of awe and wonder. The characters that you meet in both games are a little visually wooden in their appearance as well as movement. Some, especially in Bartender VR, made me laugh about the clunky way that they move towards the bar. And this alien in the Startender game had such a cheeky grin that he always amused me. Having said that, though, both games are about making the drinks, so the visuals of the customers is not the first focus. I felt that it was a pity that the customer interactions were minimised, as I found I wanted to chat, and I did, some small talk to customers, like our bartenders do in real life. Just asking questions about how are you, what's the day, bits about the weather. Of course, I didn't get any responses, but still, I liked doing that, and it made me feel even more of a bartender. The graphics in Startender are far out. This suits the theme, of course. Unlike Bartender VR, where the drinks lists are real drinks, in Startenders, they're all cosmic, made-up, weird concoctions. Plus, the equipment used to mix them is sometimes bizarre, but always intriguing and different. Unlike Bartender VR, where the garnishes are pre-cut and arranged beautifully, in Startender you need to cut, squash, slice, dice, and make the garnishes yourself. Startender includes a fully voice-acted story via your friendly bot Riley, who also has a little bit of a sense of humour. And for added atmosphere, in Bartenders VR, you can play music from provided devices and at your selected volume. In Bartender VR, there were satisfying action sounds, such as when you scooped up the ice, opened bottles, poured drinks, sounded very realistic.
Decorate with one-line wedge. Serve the drink on the napkin.
While in Startender, each machine had its own associated noise that seemed suitable for whatever that machine was.
Just this for me.
Onto the gameplay. In both, the gameplay is mostly about selecting a range of drinking glasses, different alcohol, different mixes, and the additions to the drink. You even get to choose crushed or cue dice. In Bartender VR, you can also juggle with the bartendering equipment and drink the ingredients if you want. There is a practice mode in both games, and I suggest it's very important to do so, especially in Startender, as almost everything in that game is different, with a whole host of unfamiliar mixes and odd-looking utilities that you must press, flip the various buttons and levers so that you can operate that machinery. There are hints offered in Bartender VR, but do be aware that money is deducted from your virtual wages when you use hints. And also, if you overpour your drinks of quantities higher than the instructions indicate, you are penalised. Additionally, if you make the drinks wrong, your customers will give you a little bit of attitude and, of course, no tip. I noticed that some of the professional game reviewers do not like that Bartender VR Simulator has strict controls, such as sticking to the drink quantity limits, because if you don't, then you fail. Me, well, I found it a challenge to learn how to pour very carefully towards the end of a drink. And I got that little thrill when I was in the accepted target error range. Sure, it can be frustrating at first, but life taught me, and possibly you, a lot about getting back up and retrying and retrying. You can't just give up. If you are into collecting awards and added benefits, they are available in both games. I don't really play games for the awards, but they're there if you want them. The bar itself in Bartender VR is incredibly impressive. Not only the great way it's set up, but the inclusion of a fridge that you actually have to open to get out the mixers, a can opener that you use, rip-top cans to open, and other needed items. As gameplay increases, the wide range of varying glass shapes and where they are located becomes very enjoyable. In Startender, the fruit has to be juiced and sliced, and you have to use machines to determine whether to heat or chill the beverage, adding layers of additional challenges. However, Startender has an added advantage that it includes an explorable hub where there's a series of mini games to keep you occupied in between your bartender shifts. You can play things like basketball upside down, rocket darts, and a few other games, as well as being able to use your money to purchase upgrades for your bar and also to unlock secret ingredients for advanced drinks. I did get minor eye strain in both games. However, it was entirely bearable. My final verdict, I did really like the neatly set out bar in Bartenders VR. And I feel for some that this game may be useful to learn about drinks and how to make them. And even if you just drink the drinks, it's interesting to learn how they get made up, what their ingredients are. In the end, both of the games are fun-ish. However, neither games were really for me. They may be for you, though, and if so, I wish you fun playing. To discover more VR games that I review, I invite you to subscribe. Oh, by the way, more recently, I've received some requests to review specific games. If you have any games that you would like me to review, please just ask me. See you soon.